This is the Mic 2, the latest entry in DJI's line of wireless mic systems, and there's a lot to like. Now keep in mind, for the beginning of this review, I'm actually using the DJI Mic 1, just so you can get a little bit of a comparison in there. The Mic 2 comes with a new premium metal case with a latch. The receiver comes with a much better cold shoe mount. It doesn't feel like you'll break it as it did on the Mic 1. It's no longer a removable clip. It has much nicer windscreens in terms of how you attach them. It's not the insanely tiny twist mechanism of the originals. You just plug it into the external mic port. Now the Mic 2 comes with Bluetooth connectivity, which is handy for cameras like the DJI Action 4 and Osmo Pocket 3. Unfortunately, the GoPro Hero 12 refuses to connect to it. So in this case, it's definitely a little bit better to stay within the ecosystem. It has an 820-foot range as long as you maintain perfect line of sight. The Mic 2 has an 18-hour battery life, an increase of about 3 hours over the Mic 1. Now the receiver has a handy dial and a much larger screen for you to work with. The feature that everybody's excited about is 32-bit float. If you're a photographer, think of it like dynamic range. When you shoot RAW, you have a lot more data to work with, so you can bring back the detail in the shadows and the highlights. It's a similar thing here. With 32-bit float, you can capture the quietest and the loudest moments and avoid much of the distortion. The Mic 2 also has what DJI calls intelligent noise cancellation, which I tested by going to the beach. It is a windy, wavy day at the beach, which means it's the perfect opportunity to test out the noise cancellation and the windscreen's ability to cut down the wind noise. So remember, DJI Mic 2 does have 32-bit internal float, and the keyword there is internal. You actually have to activate it by hitting record on the mic itself. So now it's recording 32-bit float internally. It doesn't just magically send it to your camera. So I'm walking right down to the water's edge here. The noise cancellation isn't enabled right now. So I'm gonna walk away from the wind for a little bit. And this is with no noise cancellation, and I'm going away from the wind, and I'm going to turn around and go back into the wind. So no noise cancellation, still straight into the wind. You're getting all the wave noise. I'm going to turn around one more time here. So hitting the on-off button activates it. And so noise cancellation is now on, and I'm walking away from the wind. I'm walking with the wind. You shouldn't hear much of the ocean anymore. They should have cut down on a whole lot of this. It's kind of funny just pacing back and forth on the beach. All right, now I'm gonna turn around and go back into the wind. So there's your ocean noise, wind noise. Everything's getting cut down, or should be. I was listening to it earlier, it's actually not that bad. There's so much spray coming in off the ocean today because the wind is on shore. It's not really my favorite kind of conditions to shoot in. I don't like getting everything covered in that salt spray. But from what I've heard so far, I actually kind of like the noise cancellation. It's really handy for that solo creator that just doesn't want to spend a whole lot of time in post fixing that kind of thing. I mean, a lot of people keep talking about how they have these really nice third-party plugins that remove noise, cut down on stuff like that. And I don't. I'm using Adobe Premiere, and I know that the next version of it is going to be releasing a lot of audio sweetening tools, and that'll be nice. But as it stands, it's kind of cool to be able to just cut it down with the mic internally. There's a convenience there that is really handy. I've been recording this whole time. I totally forgot. That's one problem with hitting the record button on the mic, is that it's recording on the mic. It doesn't just stop with the camera. So you got to make sure to actually hit this when you're done. There's also been a little bit of drama circulating out there on YouTube amongst YouTubers, and they've been saying that there's slight differences in the two mics that are included in the package. They've been saying that the mic 2 is slightly muted. Well, what I realized was low cut is on by default. And I think the new firmware actually changed it to off by default. So it's really important to go through your settings for the first time and check to make sure that they're all exactly the way you want them to be, and then fix them accordingly. For the mic 2 out of the box, low cut is enabled. And for a few recordings I actually had that on. Right now I have it off. For a new firmware update, you're going to take out each device from the charging case, plug them in one at a time, download the appropriate files from the DJI Mic 2 download page. Then you're going to move those individual files over to the transmitters and the receiver, and then unplug them, let them go through the update process, and you'll see it on the receiver. It'll actually display updating, and then it'll tell you when it's finished. The transmitters will blink a few times. If you go to the settings on the receiver, scroll over to firmware, you'll see the transmitters and the receiver and the latest firmware version number. DJI Mic 2 release notes from January 31st, 2024. What's new? Added transmitter auto off enabled by default. Added noise reduction via button enabled by default. So keep that in mind, that they have certain settings in there enabled by default, and you're going to want to go and turn those off if you don't want to use them. Added compatibility with the iPhone 15 series, optimized the stability of the system during use, fixed issue, the transmitter could not switch to Bluetooth mode while internal recording was activated, fixed issue, the transmitter when directly connected to a Bluetooth device, incorrectly indicated support for internal recording and noise reduction through the LED information, fixed some known issues. Ambiguous, but maybe that addresses some of the issues that the YouTubers were having with this. The full Mic 2 package retails for $350 USD, which knocked the Mic 1 full package down to $250 USD. And a quick note, the lav mic is not included. It's sold separately. Personally, I really like the new DJI Mic 2. The only complaints that I have, and they're small, is first, you can see the DJI logo, come on, focus, right there. It only gets caught on the DJI Mic 1 in the if you have really bright light kind of reflecting off of it, but on the DJI Mic 2, it is painted white, so it's always there. It doesn't just blend in. And my second complaint is that the LEDs on the Mic 2 only have on or off in the settings, whereas the Mic 1 actually has off, low, and on. So you have brightness settings for the Mic 1, but not the Mic 2. And that's the kind of thing that you can fix in a firmware update. So it's not really a big deal. It wasn't in the most recent firmware update, so maybe down the road, DJI.
Bonita, bonita.